end of the day and something keeps coming up. So I'm gonna get it done. I got stung by a bee last week. I think it was just last week. Time has been, there's no such thing, right? But yeah. And at the time, bless the bee, the bee survived. It was a miracle, and my arm was totally fine. And I was having a call with someone at the time, and they said, "I wonder why that happened," because we're on the same belief that everything that comes into your experience is for something, because of something. And actually, full disclosure, the next day I must have scratched it in my sleep because there was some swelling. So I didn't bless hard enough. But all good. And I realized actually my man kind of linked in a metaphor for how when we can bring compassion into any situation, then there's less or no suffering involved. And from that beautiful metaphor linking it into life, I've managed to use that metaphor many times this week as I've had some conflicts that have come up with certain people. Yeah. When I'm confronted with some awkward, resistant, confronting behaviors, attitude, words, I think of that little bee and how it got scared. I blew on it and freaked it out. I was like, oh, there's a bee on my arm, I'll just blow it off. And it was like, oh, holy shit. And then it stung me, and then it flew off, and it was totally fine. And yeah, now recently it's been so helpful for me to come back into the truth of who I am, and to be able to bring compassion and blessings to people who are on a different wavelength, shall we say. Because when we're getting stung, it's from fear from that other person. And they're potentially, just as bees do, there's a risk of death for them. But there's when people are lashing out, it's because there's their own fear, and they're actually potentially causing harm in their own system. We don't need to take that on. We can see it for what it is, which is just fear lashing out. So we can retaliate, and we can allow that poison to infiltrate our own system, our own energy, our own lives, get offended, retaliate, or we can just let it be. But really, let it be. Let it be what it is. I still get sucked into, but I'm right. And then I remember about this bee, and it really helps to keep me in that perspective of we're all just doing our best. Some people behave in certain ways which conflicts with ours, but they're doing that because they don't feel safe, or they don't agree, or, whatever it is. And I really believe that for a peaceful and happy life, it's so much more liberating to just let it be. So that's what I have for you this evening. If you're getting stung as a possibility, you can show compassion for that person and for yourself. It doesn't mean you need to accept unacceptable behavior. It doesn't mean that you need to let people speak to you in whatever way they please, or there's boundaries that you can have in place that are in alignment with who you are and what you want. If you're certain, if you trust yourself and you're certain about who you are and where you're going, and people come up against that, you can just let that be. You don't need to justify anything. You've got nothing to explain. You know where you're going. So that's what I have. That's what I have. And if you don't, and if you're not sure, and if you don't have that unshakable certainty and unshakable trust in self, then let's have a conversation. Because you have all your answers. Only you have all of your answers. Nobody else can tell you what's right for you. You'll know. You know it when you see it. And I think all of us have experienced that knowing at various points in our lives. And whether or not all of us take action is very dependent on who we're being in that moment and the influences we've had. And yeah. Questions, comments, get in touch. Love you very much. Speak soon.